Good night. Have one done tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jill, Spirit Divine. I'm here to give you a word on tonight. And the topic gonna be believe in God even in the high furnace. So this story about this king. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's so long. So I'm just gonna say king. Now he made an image of gold, 90 feet high, 9 feet wide. Now he wanted everyone to worship his image of gold that he set up. So when the sound he wanted everyone when the sound of the horn played, they are to fall down and worship immediately, and if not, you will be thrown into the blazing furnace. He made an image of God. I mean, the thing with this tall. And when he played the horn, he want everybody to bow down and worship his God that he set up. So everybody did, except these three guys. These three guys were talking among themselves and weren't even paying him no attention. So one of the guys had noticed that they wasn't paying attention, and he wanted them to bow down. If not, he would throw them in a blaze of fire. So now these three guys, these three men, they worship only the true God who can save them. Because they're making an image of God, of their God, and their God cannot talk, cannot save them, cannot do nothing. So these three guys here say we worship our God. We worship our God, only the true God who can save us. They believe and they trust in God even in a high furnace. So this story gonna be coming from Daniel chapter 3, verse 1 through 30. And so this king made an image of gold, 9 feet high, 9 feet wide, and set it up in the provinces of the Babylon. So now this king summoned the satrap, the head of the administration of the provinces that he was responsible for, and the security, and his army, So now he summoned all these people here. He summoned these people to come and see this image of God that he made. He summoned the subscribe, the governor, the advisor, the judge, the treasurer, and others, and providence officers to come to decoration of his image that he had set up. Now he invited all these people here to see this image that he set up, you know. So he had everyone to stand around him to give them a commandment to do. Now he about to give them a commandment to do, and the people of the nation and the men of every language was there. So now he's telling everyone, when you hear the sound of this horn, this flute, the herb, the pipes, all kind of music, you know, he want everyone to fall down and worship this God. He want everyone to bow down, and worship this God. Now, whoever does not fall down and worship, you know, worship immediately will be thrown in a blaze of the furnace. So he want people to bow down. If they don't bow down, they're gonna be in place in the high furnace. So extraordinary came forward, and because he noticed some of the Jewish prophets of Babylon, these three guys here who paid no attention. They were just talking among themselves. They weren't paying no attention because they only worship the only true God, and bow down. And that's how I am. You don't bow down to nobody but your God. You don't bow down to nothing else. So now these three guys were not serving their God. Now these guys here was not serving their God. And God already told the Israelite, you don't serve no other God but him. And so these guys here is the Jews. So they don't serve nobody but God. And they already say our God can save us. That image he made cannot save them, cannot save them at all. So now these three guys were not serving, was not worshiping their God. Now they brought before the king. The king is true that you not worship. The king had asked them, is it true that y'all not bow down to my God? You know? And it said, so the king said, when I make this sound again, I need y'all to bow down and worship this God. So one of the guys, and the king said, if you do not worship, you know, my image, immediately you'll be thrown into the blazing of fire. And then who will save you then? So he won't be sarcastic. He said, I'm gonna throw you in a furnace. Now he said, who gonna save you? Who gonna save you out of my hands? So now these three guys responded to the king. One of the guys responded to the king. They said, we do not need to defend ourselves, before you in this matter. And if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us, from it, and he will rescue us from you, king. Now, this is one of the guys said, and these were some young guys too. He said, if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve will be able to save us, and he will rescue us from you, king. But even if he does not, we won't serve you anyway, king. Now, this is what the guy said. God said, even if our God don't save us, we still not going to bow down to you. We only serve our God and our God only. We don't bow down to nobody else. Even if he don't save us, we still not bowing down to you and worship your God. And that's what one of the guys has said. They said, the God we serve will rescue us. Now the God of worship the image of gold you have set up. Not only these three guys are true bravery, very true bravery, but they have so much trust in God. They have so much trust in God. And that's how we have to do. I'm talking to myself too. We got to have so much trust in God. Even when that stone seems like it's a hot furnace. Because sometimes that stone, we ain't gonna get this start burning. So when that stone start burning, will we still trust God like these three guys? These three guys were determined not to bow down to him. He said, we're not going to bow down to you even if our God don't save us. That's true bravery right there. That's true bravery, knowing you're going to be placed in that furnace. And you say, even if God don't save you, we still not going to bow down to you. And that's a true believer right there. He believed in God. He trusts God, even in that burning furnace. So not only these three guys are true bravery, but they have so much trust in God. That's where you want to put your trust at. Because making up these images of God, it cannot save you. So they trust only one true God who can save them. Now they respect. Now, don't get me wrong, they respect their king. They respect their king, but they say where we draw the line at, we don't worship other gods. And this is how they put it. Where we draw the line at, we do not serve other gods. We respect you to a certain extent. But for us to serve other gods, we will not do that. We will not do that. We respect you, but when it comes down to worshiping other gods, they only worship God. The God they serve. So the three guys know they know they're gonna be in that high furnace. But they're still being brave, They're still being brave and they're still trusting God. Because they're saying the God that we serve will rescue us. The God we serve will rescue us from you, King. And even if our God don't rescue us, we still not gonna bow down to you. That's true bravery right there. And that's how these three guys, they really trust God, even in that hot furnace. Because they know they're about to go in that hot furnace and they're still talking their talk, So these three guys are true bravery. True bravery. Now the bravery of these three young men, they respect their king. They are willing, to carry out their duties. They're willing to carry out their duties, but they draw the line when it comes to worshiping false gods. Because God taught them, do not serve false God. Other false God cannot save you. He the only one. If you reach out to him, he can save you. So they believe the God of heaven will protect them from the hot furnace. Even if he does not, they will not back down. That these guys here, because the king had told him, is it true that y'all not bow down to my image? Look, let me tell y'all something. When I blow this horn, I need y'all to bow down right now and worship my God. Them three guys stood up there, look at each other. They're like, we not bowing down to you. The God that we serve will rescue us. And even if he don't rescue us, we still not going to bow down to your God. And they meant that. They stood on their grounds. So they protect, heaven will protect them from the hot furnace. Even if he does not, they will not back down. And they did not back down. They did not back down. They would rather die than betray God. And that's how we have to be. That's how we have to be. That's how Joe was. Joe took all that lip. I'm taking all that lip. Sometimes it's worth it. These guys say they'd rather die in that furnace than betray God. That's how much they worship God. They worship God that much that they will be in that hot furnace. They said we'd rather die in that hot furnace than betray God. So they'd rather not betray God than to bow down to somebody else. So now these three guys still did not fall down. They still did not bow down to this king. And now this king is furious. He's mad. Because nobody not listening to him. He trying to scare them. I'm put you in that hot furnace, okay? So I'm about to blow this hole. I need you to bow down right now. That still not scared. That still did not scare. So now, this king is mad now. Because this guy not paying no attention. This guy is not scared of them. This guy still not gonna bow down. And he talk about, I'm gonna put you in this hot furnace. They still didn't bow down. And the king tried to scare them in every chance they get. And they still stood on their grounds. And they did not bow down to their king. So now the king is mad. He's so mad at first, so he ordered the furnace to be hot, way hotter than he scheduled it to be. Heated up 7 times hotter than usual, and command some of his strong soldiers. Now he got some of his strong soldiers, to tie them up and throw them in there, but then the furnace, the hot heat killed them. So they in this hot furnace with the flames and the fire, all that is going on. And they just went in there, just walk up in there, tied up and went in that hot furnace. They had courage and they was brave. They weren't even trembling. They wasn't scared. They walk up in that hot furnace, and here that hot heat killed his soldiers. They tied him up. So the fire killed the soldier who tied them up, and they fell into the blazing furnace. So now the king asks him, what is the three guys? Now he put them in there, So now he asking, what is this three guys? When he found out his soldiers, his army, all of them dead, he like, well, what is this three guys? That my soldier is dead from the heat. Where they? So then someone said, look, it looked like they're walking around. Look like they're walking around in a fire unbound. Now they was tied up. So they said they walking. How you walk around in a hot furnace when you got God in your life? You got God on your side. You can walk around in a hot furnace like it's ain't nothing. So they're walking around in this hot furnace unbound. And remember they was tied up. So the king, and one of the guys had said, well, then there was three. No, the king said, well, then there was three up in there. They said, yeah, but look like we see four. Look like we see four people up in there. So God sent one of his angels, to protect them in that hot furnace. So now the king opened the hot furnace. Now he suspicious now. He see four people now. He know it was three of them in there. So he opened the hot furnace and he yelling. He's yelling all three of them there, y'all come out, y'all come out. So when the three guys came out, you had the sacristan, the governor, you had the crowd, you had the whole crowd around them. You had the whole crowd around them. And so the crowd was around them. So everyone saw that the fire had not harmed them. Because see, he told them to come out. Y'all come out. So they came out. They see that the fire did not harm them. Their body, was not harmed. They see their hair would not caught on fire. The sign, their robe was not burned, and there was no scar on them at all, and there was no smell of fire on them at all. So it was like they were even thrown in the furnace. Because they come out not smelling no smoke, and smelling no fire. Their hair wasn't burnt, their robe, their clothes, none of that wasn't burnt. It wasn't even a touch of a fire on them. So now these three guys trust God so much. They trust only the true God that they know was going to save them. So God did save these three guys. These three guys, they risked their life because they say even if God don't save us, they still weren't going to buy down. So either way it goes, they was going in their furnace, with faith. They was going there with faith because not knowing guarantee if God was going to save them, because it said even if he don't save us. So that means they had a little doubt that God wasn't going to save, if the God wasn't going to save them. They had a little doubt. So now these three guys trust only the true God, and God did save them. It was power of God that saved them. That they came out unharmed. So they came out in perfect peace, like they weren't even thrown in the furnace. There was not harm, there was not burnt. There was no fire smell. So now the king, now the king see all this now. Now he know that hot furnace killed his soldiers. And for them to be in that hot furnace and come out not harmed at all, so now the king seeing the power from God. Just like these guys kept on telling them, the God we serve will save us from you, will save us from this fire, will save us. And now he see what these guys were talking about. God saved them in that hot furnace. They came out, and it seemed like they were in a hot furnace. No smell. The hair wasn't burned. Their clothes wasn't burned. They didn't smell no fire at all on these guys. And guess what the king saw doing? He saw shouting and praising God. So he praising their God, who they've been praising the whole time. So you want to build a image of God, but your God cannot do the miracle that this God can do. Now he praising God. He jumping up and down praising God. So now he want, and see, that's how God do. God show his miracles. God show his glory, and that's how he could get people back into him the ones that's in darkness towards the light. He saw the power of God working with these three guys. He saw four people in that furnace. That was the angel that was with these guys that were attacking them, that kept them from getting burned. And he see, now this king see how our God can save you, how your image of God cannot save you, cannot move, cannot talk, cannot turn his head, but you want to worship something that cannot save you. Now he see the God that they serve, that these three guys kept on bragging on. Now he see, because he started praising. He started praising their God. Now the king started praising the God of these three guys. Now he see how God saved those three guys when they kept on praising God. So God had sent his angel, and rescued his servant. And they trust in him. And they defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives, ready to serve and worship any other God except their own God. And that's what I'm saying. They risked their life. There was true bravery. They risked their life. They trust God even in that high furnace. So now all the people, who was in the crowd, they all saw the miracle too. Remember, they all was around, because the king, y'all come out, y'all come out. So he wanted to see what was going on, because the fire hadn't killed his soldier. So he like, if his soldier is dead, they got to be to burn pieces. But they come out, not burn at all. Come out just smiling. Just smiling. The clothes that was not burnt up at all. And they're just walking out smiling. And everybody, the crowd, everybody, the king, everybody seeing the miracle that God had did. So now you got somebody that was building a image of God, now praising the three guys God, praising that God. So now he see that God that they was praising can save them. That what they kept on saying, our God gonna save us, our God gonna rescue us. And they all saw the power of God rescue these three guys. So now all the people, who was in the crowd, see that no other can save them like this. Now the people in the crowd, they said, we see no other God cannot save. The way this God has saved these people here. And he got that big old thing standing right there, and they're looking like he can't do none of this kind of stuff. Heavenly Father, the only one can do this kind of stuff. He can't save nobody. He can't move. And they're seeing the power of their God that they always brag about. Their God gonna save us. We worship only our God. Now you see, it's all worth it to just worship that God, because you call out, that's the only God that can save you. So God saved them, and everyone see. God like to do things right in front of people. God will set a table for you with everyone sitting right there. God anointed David with his whole family standing right there. He likes to do things when you're standing right there. So they had the crowd right there. When the three guys came out unharmed, unbound. He said, didn't we tie them up? Come out untied, come out smiling, you know, like ain't nothing happened. They had confidence. They had a little doubt at first, but they say even if God don't save us, I mean they had a little doubt. But at the same time, they had confidence. For them to risk their life to go in that high furnace, they had to have faith, believing that God was gonna save them. You know, so God saved them and had them to come out in front of everybody and see the miracles that God had just performed. So the king was so amazed. So he started praising God. So the king, after he saw, after he saw the wonders that God had proceed with these three guys, he turned around and he promoted the three guys. So the king promoted them He will promote them of Babylon. So he see the kind of God that they serve, and that's the kind of person I want to promote, to be right here. So the king promotes them from seeing the work of God, seeing the power of God. So one, these three guys did not bow down to their image, because they feel like they did not want to betray God. So two, they trust God even in his high furnace. You know, even in his high furnace, they they praise God, they trust God, they believe in God. Three, they they say even if God don't save us, we still not gonna bow down. See, they stood on their grounds. They stood on their ground and they refused to bow down to an image that they know cannot save them. So four, the only worship, the only worship that God, the only God can save is the one, the true God that they all worship. And they will not worship no other God because they don't want to betray the God that they serve. So five. They came out not home. No fire, no burn, no smell of fire. Just come out walking and smiling. That was the power of God. You know, so put your trust in God. This package is about put your trust in God. This guy put their trust in God. They let their life on the line. Because they had so much trust in God. Put your trust in God. Even in a high furnace, even if your stones start boiling up, even just stones to start getting out of place. Because sometimes your stone can start boiling. It can be flaming up. Getting all out of control. Even in those times, we still have to trust God like these three guys. These three guys, knowing they was going in their high furnace, and they still trust God. Still trust God, knowing they was risking their life. They'd rather die in that furnace than to betray God. So do not worship other gods. Now we see when the king saw the power of God at work. When the king saw the power of God at work with these three guys, he started praising them. He started praising God, and then he turned around and promoted the three guys. And see, that's how God do. God do miracles. God can change people's mind. You know, now he done changed this person's mind just by seeing the power of God working these three guys right here. He was worshiping the image of God that he made. Now he see how their God, you know, now he see how their God work. So trust God even in your hot storm. Do not worship other gods. Cannot save you. Now we see that the king saw the power of God and he started praising God. You know, and the king, after he saw the power of God, then he promote these three guys. So it take prayer and it take trusting God in your hot storm. Because sometimes your stone can be boiling. It can be boiling so much until it start overflowing. But see, when you in that stone, don't come out the stone looking like you've been caught on fire. And look like you know been to a stone. These guys came out of a hot furnace and still didn't look like they was in a hot furnace. So when you come out your stone, don't look like you just come out of a stone. Don't look like you just come out of a hot furnace. You still keep yourself up in that stone. And see how them guys walk out of that hot furnace smiling? Every time I'm out there, I'm always still smiling. You got to smile like these three guys did. They came out of hot furnace. You come out your stone smiling. You come out your house smiling and looking good. Don't look like you come out of hot furnace. Don't look like you just come out of a big stone. Just because you come out of big stone, you don't have to look like you come out of big stone. These guys came out looking, smiling, and still looking good. They ain't look all run down like they was in the hot furnace. And that's how we have to do. We got to come out of our storm and still look good. Even when you in your storm and you going to take care of it, still look good. Still look good. So this pack is about, you know, trusting God, even in your big storm, even in your hot storm, even in when that storm start boiling over. We still got to trust God. So that's all the word I have for you on today. Always trust God. And no matter what your storm is, no matter what your situation is, these three guys trust God to the fullest, and they refuse to bow down to anyone else. So we will not serve no other gods, but the only true God that we call out to Him, He can save us. So you have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all in the next video.